everyone, this is lecture 6 of behavioral economics. We are going to talk about motivation and hierarchical needs, basically certain theories of motivation and how they are relevant in the field of behavioral economics or economics in general. Behavioral economics focuses on the psychological drivers of economic decisions, as we all understand. Now, in this module, we explore the concept of motivation and human need hierarchy and its role in economic behavior. So, basically we will explore the foundations of motivation, a key driver behind human decision making in economic contexts. By understanding motivation, we can better explain why people make certain choices and how these choices shape markets and policies. So, first of all, what is motivation? Motivation refers to the internal process that initiate, direct and sustain goal directed behavior. So, I have a goal in front of me and then what my internal process or how internally I am processing, that would basically help me achieve my goal. Motivation is what drives individuals to take action towards achieving their goals. It can be intrinsic or internal, where actions are driven by personal satisfaction, or it can be extrinsic also, where external rewards like money or recognition play a role. Understanding these motivations help us analyze economic behavior more effectively. So, we have two types of motivation: intrinsic, which is basically driven by internal rewards or enthusiasm, and the second one is extrinsic motivation, which is driven by external factors, external rewards, for example, money, recognition. So, here we show that these are primarily intrinsic factors: passion, interest, curiosity, enjoyment, purpose, fun, and then there are extrinsic factors like money, praise, awards, punishment, grades, rewards, etc. And there is also a few factors which are common to both, for example, academic success, that could be driven by passion for academics, as well as there could be external factors or rewards associated with such success. Similarly, relationships, we maintain relationships because of our internal gratification or satisfaction. At the same time, relationships could be external also. Maintaining relationships help us achieving certain social contacts, certain social recognition, and similarly there could be career success. So, again it shows that there are two types of motivation: intrinsic, which are from within like autonomy, mastery, purpose, and extrinsic motivation, like those are from outside, for example, compensation, punishment, reward. The importance of motivation in economic behavior. Motivation is central to understanding economic behavior because it drives decisions like spending, saving, and career choices. For example, motivated employees tend to be more productive, while motivated consumers may respond strongly to marketing strategies. However, biases often distort these motivations, leading to suboptimal choices, in the sense that we always do not act according to our motivations, or maybe what we desire to achieve, we may not be able to achieve that because at times certain decisions are under the influence of some biases, which basically retard us or hold us from achieving what we intend to achieve. Motivation shapes economic decisions such as spending and saving habits, career choices, and productivity at work, responses to marketing and advertising. So, these are the situations or contexts where we see that our acts reflect our motivation. Motivated individuals are more likely to engage in behaviors that align with their goals, but biases can distort these behaviors. The study of motivation has deep roots in history. First of all, we have already talked about Adam Smith. In his theory of moral sentiments, we mentioned previously that he talked about prudence, he talked about justice, he highlighted sympathy and virtue as drivers of human behavior. Then there is this famous psychologist Sigmund Freud, who is primarily known for his psychoanalysis. They explored unconscious motives behind actions. Abraham Maslow, 1943, he proposed the hierarchy of needs theory, and we are going to discuss Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory in detail. So, the key theories in motivation are primarily four. These theories have shaped our understanding of motivation over time. Maslow's hierarchy explains motivation as a progression through needs, while McClelland focuses on achievement and power as key drivers. Self-determination theory distinguishes between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and Herzberg highlights the role of workplace factors. So, these are the key theories of motivation. We have Maslow's hierarchy of needs, explain human motivation through 5 levels of needs. McClelland's need theory focuses on achievement, power and affiliation as motivators. Self-determination theory distinguishes between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and Herzberg's two-factor theory differentiates motivators from hygiene factors. In behavioral economics, understanding motivation allows us to design better policies and strategies. For instance, nudges can encourage savings or sustainable practices by aligning with intrinsic motivations or leveraging extrinsic rewards like tax benefits. Let us consider some examples. Consumer behavior. In the field of consumer behavior, we can try to understand why people buy luxury goods or save for retirement. In terms of workplace productivity, role of intrinsic versus extrinsic rewards can explain how workplace productivity vary. Nudges that motivate sustainable behaviors can be exploited by public policy, and there are very many examples. We will be discussing them at length while discussing nudges. Now, talking about hierarchical ordered needs in behavioral economics, we will be now focusing on Maslow's theory. Abraham Maslow, an American psychologist, introduced his hierarchy of needs in 1943. This 5-tier model arranges human needs from the most basic to the most complex, providing a framework for understanding human motivation. The pyramid structure is often depicted. So, basically Maslow's hierarchy is often depicted as a pyramid. At the base are physiological needs, followed by safety, love and belonging, esteem, and finally self-actualization at the top. This structure suggests that lower level needs must be largely satisfied before higher needs become significant motivators. So, we have already mentioned the 5 levels from bottom to top there: physiological, safety, love and belonging, esteem and self-actualization. So, this is how it looks like. We begin from the lowest, we begin from the bottom, the base, and then going up we have physiological, safety, love and belonging, esteem and self-actualization. So, what are they actually? First of all, talking about physiological need. So, at the very least we do not want to be hungry, thirsty, exhausted, freezing, overheating, sick or in pain. So, we first of all need to fulfill our physiological needs. That is why this is the very basic, this is at the bottom. Then comes safety. If we feel okay when our physiological basic needs are met, then we basically look for safety. We need to feel safe then, we need to feel confident, we can avoid pain, safety from not only outside factors, but also internal factors like pain, hunger and other dangers for the immediate future. That is safety. Coming to the third kind of need, which is basically love and belonging, that has certain social aspect. So, once we feel safe, then our social needs for love and belongingness come into play. We feel secure when we are part of a tribe, we can trust and basically we do not need to worry about rejection or affiliation, so or alienation, and that is why love and belonging comes into play. Then the fourth tier is of self-esteem. Once we are secure in our social needs, our primal desires for status and self-esteem come into play. We want to feel not only part of the group, but an admired and respected individual or respected part of the group. And then the final one is self-actualization. Now our core needs are met. When our core needs are met, we are ready to pursue our deepest desire for self-actualization to become the most complete and authentic version of ourselves. With the fundamentals taken care of, we are free to act as we choose, aligned with our values and higher purposes. Now again I talk about very briefly about these needs. So first of all, psychological needs, this basically the basic biological requirements for human survival. This includes air, food, water, shelter, sleep, clothing, just to mention a few. Economic implications, basically here we demand for essential goods and services. How it is related to our economic behavior? Consumer spending on necessities, we purchase goods which are basically of necessity under this need. Price elasticity of demand for essential goods, we know that these elasticities are actually the elasticities are basically inelastic. The prices are inelastic. These goods often, or I would say rather, the demand is inelastic with respect to price. These goods often have inelastic demand, meaning people will buy them regardless of price changes. This concept is crucial in poverty alleviation and development economics, and as a result of which this concept has impact on poverty and development economics. Then talking about safety needs, security, stability, freedom from fear, these are part of safety needs. So, that includes personal security, financial security, health and well-being as well. Because of this need, we demand for insurance, savings products, healthcare facilities and so on. And talking about economic behavior, we go for risk aversion in financial decisions. We need secured job. So, our job preferences are in terms of how secure they are, along with how much of course they are being paid. Market for safety products and services are also there in existence because of the safety needs. Then the third category is love and belonging needs. That includes social needs, relationships, sense of connection. For example, friendships, intimate relationships, family. So, because of this need, we have social goods, communication services, social media. So, love and belonging needs significantly impact consumer behavior as well, influencing choices like gift giving. They also explain the effectiveness of social proof in marketing and the rise of community based economic models. The fourth one is esteem needs. That includes respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, and for example, the feeling of prestige, feeling of accomplishment are part of esteem needs. Because of esteem needs, we buy luxury goods, buy goods of status symbol, professional development. So, esteem needs explain economic phenomena like conspicuous consumption, where people buy expensive items to display wealth and status. They also influence brand loyalty, premium pricing strategies and investments in education and skills. And finally, we have self-actualization needs. Through this, one tries to achieve one's full potential, the desire to reach one's full potential. Examples include creativity, problem solving, accepting of facts, and because of that, institutions or markets for personal growth industry, experiential purchases do exist. Self-actualization needs have given rise to the experience economy, where consumers value unique experiences over material possessions. For example, when we visit luxury resort and when we pay say 20,000 rupees for a night, what we basically pay for is the experience there. They also tend to offer us experiences that are not commonly or casually available, and as a result of which this kind of experiences create memory. So, these are part of experience economy. This level also drives demand for self improvement products and services and often motivates entrepreneurship and innovation. It is important to note that Maslow's 5-stage model has been expanded to include cognitive and aesthetic needs and later transcendence need also. So, now we have this 8-stage need hierarchy, which after belonging and love needs include esteem needs, cognitive needs, aesthetic needs, then we have the usual self actualization followed by transcendence. Now, we talk about the additional needs that are introduced. So, cognitive needs include knowledge and understanding, curiosity, exploration, need for meaning and predictability. Cognitive needs drive our pursuit of knowledge and understanding. For instance, a student's desire to understand complex mathematical theories, a traveler's curiosity about diverse cultures, or an individual's quest for life's deeper meanings all exemplify these needs. Meeting these needs facilitates personal growth, comprehension and a deeper understanding of life and its complexities. So, there we have cognitive needs. Now, talking about aesthetic needs, Appreciation and search for beauty, balance, form, etc. are included in aesthetic needs. Fulfilling these needs leads to a deeper sense of satisfaction and harmony in life as individuals seek environments and experiences that are pleasing and resonant with their sense of beauty. This involves the appreciation of pursuit of art, music, nature and other form of aesthetic expressions. Fulfilling these needs isn't just about physical beauty, but also the emotional and psychological satisfaction derived from experiencing order and elegance. Then we have the final one, which is transcendence needs. A person is motivated by values that transcend beyond the personal self. Beyond self-actualization, they represent the human desire to connect with a higher reality, purpose or the universe. So, that is what in essence is the transcendence needs. This level emphasizes altruism, spiritual connection and helping others achieve their potential. Individuals seek experiences that move beyond personal concerns, aiming to achieve a deep sense of unity, understanding and belonging within the vast expanse of existence. Examples of transcendence needs include mystical experience and certain experiences with nature, aesthetic experiences, sexual experiences, service to others, the pursuit of science, religious faith, etc. Now, we talk about criticism of Maslow's theory. Despite its popularity, Maslow's theory faces several criticisms. These include a lack of empirical evidence, cultural bias towards Western values, the assumption of a rigid hierarchy and oversimplification of complex human needs. Modern interpretations of Maslow's theory acknowledge that progression through needs is not always linear. Individuals may pursue multiple needs simultaneously and prioritize them differently. Current research often integrates Maslow's insights with other motivational theories. In this context, we talk about Elderfer's ERG theory. In 1969, Clayton Elderfer proposed the ERG theory as a simplification and extension of Maslow's hierarchy. ERG stands for existence, relatedness and growth. The components of ERG theory are thus existence, which include physical and physiological needs. Relatedness includes social and external needs, external esteem needs, and growth includes internal esteem and self-actualization need. So, as you can see that ERG theory condenses Maslow's 5 levels into 3. Existence covers physiological and safety needs. Relatedness encompasses social needs and external esteem, while growth includes internal esteem and self-actualization. So, if we compare ERG theory with Maslow's hierarchy, then we can say that in case of ERG there is no strict hierarchy. It allows for simultaneous activation of different needs. There is also a concept like frustration regression principle, we talk about it, but another aspect is more flexible across cultures. So, it is not only confined to Western value systems. So, talking about now frustration regression principle, we say that unlike Maslow's strict hierarchy, ERG theory allows for simultaneous pursuit of different needs. It introduces the frustration regression principle where unmet higher needs can increase desire for lower needs. So, basically when someone is frustrated for not being able to achieve higher needs or fulfill higher needs, then it gets back to fulfilling the lower needs. So, that is why we go for a regression. The flexibility makes it more applicable across diverse cultures. Motivation and decision making in behavioral economics. So, needs actually lead to choices. How needs influences economic choices is basically crucial to our understanding. Needs shape economic choices by creating demand hierarchies. For instance, physiological needs drive bulk buying of essentials, while esteem needs fuel luxury purchases. Let us explore how these hierarchies operate. Talking about need driven economic decisions, first of all, when we look at basic needs, we can see that grocery shopping during inflation, or for example Walmart sales surge is an example of fulfilling basic needs. Social needs include spending on weddings or events. Global wedding industry is valued at $160 billion. esteem needs include luxury car purchases. For example, BMW sales may go up by 12% in emerging markets. Now, in the case of, let us consider the case of luxury goods market, where we are fulfilling the role of esteem needs. There is something called Veblen goods. This is named after an American economist, Thorstein Veblen, who basically observed that there are certain commodities for which the law of demand is violated. The law of demand says that as price increases, quantity demanded decreases, or when price decreases, quantity demanded increases. What he observed for luxury goods, that when price increases, or certain commodities, we observe that when price increases, quantity demanded increases, and when price decreases, quantity demanded decreases. That is because there are certain commodities, for example, vintage paintings or items or antique goods, goods that are being auctioned. So, higher the prices, by purchasing those commodities or those products, the buyers actually think of attaining higher social status. So, as a result of which they tend to buy more of those products, and that defies the law of demand. 73% of luxury buyers cite status as the key motivator. So, what is the behavioral insight? Scarcity plus exclusivity. In the sense, commodities which are not easily available. So, certain paintings by famous painters, or maybe the painters that who have already died, the sculptors who have died, their creations, they are of course scarce and they are also exclusive. So, that increases the perceived value. The luxury goods market thrives on esteem needs. Brands like Rolex use scarcity and exclusivity to create irrational demand. 73% of buyers prioritize status over utility, defying traditional price demand laws. Let us consider another case study of Coca-Cola's Share a Coke campaign. The strategy is to personalize the Coke bottles. So, it was introduced in 2011 in Australia, where popular names were actually printed on Coke bottles. That led to basically certain emotional connections and resulted in increase in sales by 7% in declining market. So, behavioral insight is that social belonging plus self-esteem actually led to viral success. In 2025, they have reintroduced this concept, and which is going to be effective from 1st of April, or has already become effective from 1st of April across 120 countries, where the Coca-Cola mobile app and on-pack QR codes provide a gateway to this Share a Coke digital hub, Share a Coke digital hub, where fans can customize Coca-Cola packaging with additional names and access the Share a Coke memory maker, an interactive digital experience to create personalized videos with their own content and memes to share with friends. So, these are strategies where you are basically exploiting certain needs, the social needs maybe, in order to increase the sales of your product. So, in summary, motivation blends cognitive goals and emotional triggers, where the designing policies or ads aligning with these drivers like Coca-Cola did can transform economic outcomes. With this, I conclude this lecture. These are the references. Thank you.